So what we established in our last class really was that financial performance alone is not adequate. Though non-financial performance concept primarily was for the public sector, or what we call not-for-profit organizations. We have realized that even the private sector, purely commercial organizations, they also need to include non-financial performance, okay, to their performance measurement system so that they have a comprehensive view of performance. And we also looked at various advantages, or looked at the case for inclusion of non-financial performance. We covered that. For our syllabus, said there are two models, the balance scorecard and the building block model. These two help us to bring in or to incorporate non-financial into our financial performance measurement systems. So we start with a balance scorecard. Now, I want to make an assumption that you have read through this question. It's not very long. Okay, so I want to understand that you have read through this question, and we should be able to answer the question together. That is really my understanding. Okay. Good. So with that introduction, then let us take our question here. Let's take our question. Okay. Describe each of the four perspectives of the balance scorecard. Describe. This question has come a number of times before, asking us to describe these four perspectives. I'm sure you remember the perspectives. So what are the four perspectives of the balance scorecard? Could somebody quick remind us of the four perspectives of the balance scorecard? What are these four perspectives?
Financial.
Yes, so we talked about the financial perspective. Another one?
Customer perspective. Customer.
The customer perspective is another one. Then we have which other one?
Innovation.
Innovation and learning. So an organization should get evidence in this area. And the last one?
Internal.
The internal processes. So these are the four perspectives. Now the question is, what exactly are we going to say about these perspectives? What are we going to say about these perspectives? What should we say about these perspectives? So Rita would like to welcome you to our class for today. It's your first class with us as she joined. So Rita, I want to welcome you to our class. Are you able to get me, Rita? Rita, are you able to get me? Rita, are you able to get me? Rita, are you able to get me? Okay. Rita, you need to click your microphone. Okay, are you able to get me? I think you can get me now. I can see your microphone icon is on. Okay, Rita, welcome to our class this afternoon. So you found us answering the question on balance scorecard, the past exam question. That's what we are doing. So the first bit was explaining what the four perspectives are. We have just identified the four perspectives of the balance scorecard. That's what we have just done. Now we need to describe them in terms of What should be covered under each one of these? What should be covered under each one of these? So right away, because we are still learning, I'm going to use a suggested solution to pinpoint the aspects that should be covered. I'm going to use the solution to pinpoint what is expected from us under financial perspective. What should we talk about? What should we talk about under the customer perspective? What of innovation and learning, and also the internal processes? What should we talk about? So let us quickly talk about these items now. Okay, so let's zero in on this. Number one, let's start with financial perspective. What question do you want to answer under financial perspective? How does a company appear in the eyes of the shareholders? So we're looking at a company from the shareholders' point of view. How can we create value for our shareholders? What should we monitor? So what are some of the things we must monitor? 3 issues we must consider them. What is this? Revenue. We must look at the concept of revenue in terms of growth and mix. So for us to generate value, to get value for shareholders, we need the revenue. We also need the issue of cost reduction, and also we need the proper asset utilization. So if we're going to write about financial perspective, these are the 3 things we must talk about. We need to monitor the revenues of the organization, very important. We need to monitor the cost of the organization, and also we need to monitor the asset utilization. So these are the 3 items that we must monitor. Okay. So let's come to the financial perspective. Where do these come from? Where do these come from? How can we improve on revenue, cost, and asset utilization? The answer is the direct one that impacts on a financial perspective is a customer perspective. If your customers are happy, you're going to have revenues. And if you have volumes, what's the impact of volumes? What's the impact of volumes on costs? Unit costs drop with volumes. So one item that directly affects financial performance is customer perspective. So we need to get evidence of how do we appear to our customers. How do we appear to our customers? The organization should ask itself, to achieve our vision, how should we appear to our customers? What are our customers looking for, and what are our customers saying? The customer perspective should identify the customer and market segment in which the business will compete. There is a strong link between customer perspective and revenue objectives in the financial perspective. If the customers are achieved, revenue objectives should be too. So that's what customer perspective is all about. So what are some of the measures? You want to look at repeat business. Repeat business. What proportion of the business or revenue is coming from the current or existing customers? So repeat business. You also want to look at The growth in revenue. Growth in revenue. The issue of delivery. Delivery. Do we deliver on time? What of returns? What percentage of items is returned? What of the number of customer complaints? So all these give us a customer perspective. Internal perspective. Internal perspective. You know, for our customers to be happy, there's something which is important. Our processes must be efficient. Our processes must be efficient. Our processes must be efficient. For customers to be happy, we need to work on our internal processes. This requires the organization to ask itself, what must we excel at to achieve our financial and customer objectives? It must identify the internal business processes which are critical to implementation of the organization strategy. So what are these? These include the innovation process, the operations process, and the post-sales process. But when you look at the question that we have today, if you look at the questions, there's a number of internal processes. So there are a number of internal processes, and I hope that you picked them. There's a number of internal processes in the question that we're just looking at, and I want you to highlight those for me. Lastly, learning and growth perspectives. This requires the organization to ask itself whether it can continue. Can we continue to improve? Can we continue to improve and create value? In other words, we're talking about the future. The organization must continue to invest in its infrastructure. That is the people, the systems, organization procedures. How do we know whether we are a learning organization? How much are you spending on training? So the amount that you spent on training. The amount that you spend on training. Another one is you can tell by looking at how much of your revenue is coming from new products. How much revenue is coming from the new products? How much revenue is coming from the new products? So these are some of the performance indicators, the amount of money that you are spending on training, And the dividend that is coming from new products, that shows how innovative you are. This shows that you're a learning organization. Okay. Let us now move to the next item in our question. The next item on our question is, for each perspective of the balance scorecard, identify one goal together with a corresponding performance measure, which could be used by the company. The goal and measures should be specifically relevant to the company. For each pair of goals and measures, explain why you have chosen them. Okay. Okay. So let's go here. How could we come up with the goals? When students look at this question, they find it quite challenging. How do you come up with goals? The goals that we set for ourselves could come from some of the concerns or issues raised here. Some of the concerns or issues or where we are, this can give you the goals that the company should do, focus on. Secondly, the company wants to be a low-cost provider. And they want to use these. So the question then is, from here, you can pick some goals. We can pick some goals here, but we must align them with the 4 perspectives. Okay. So for instance, we've got one here. They want to operate a low cost and high efficiency airline. You want to be very efficient in the usage of the resources. What is one of the biggest resources in this industry? For an airline, what is one of the biggest resources? What is one of the biggest input resource? Hello, if you are in this industry, what do you think is the biggest resource? What's the biggest resource that we must use efficiently? Are you seeing that? It's the planes. You want to use these planes efficiently. That will help you to reduce your costs. Okay. Let's look at how we can come up with goals. The airline was given an on-time arrival ranking of 7th best by the country's aviation authority, who rank 50 of the country's airlines based on the number of flights which arrive on time. What should be our goal here? What goal do you think we should set ourselves here? Based on this, what should be our goal? And this will come in your customer perspective. What goal should we set for ourselves? Okay, I'll give you another example. The turnaround time, the average ground turnaround time for the company is 50 minutes. Planes are on the ground refueling for about 50 minutes. What goal should we set for ourselves? We need to reduce the turnaround time. Reduction in the turnaround time. Very, very important. So this gives you an idea of the goal that we must have. Reduction in turnaround time. Look at another one. Customer satisfaction surveys have shown 85% of customers are happy with the standard of cleanness. 85%, 15% are not happy. So what is one goal that we can set ourselves? Relating to what? Cleanness. The cleaning, we need to improve on our cleaning. Now that is the cleaning process. So cleaning is one of the processes, internal processes that we have. Another idea of the goal. We want to show you how you come up with the goals, because this is a common question. 48 flights were cancelled in 2013 compared to 2012. Tell me what goal we must have here. "48 flights cancelled." So what should be our goal?
To reduce the number of the cancellation of flights.
Yes, you get it right. You've gotten it.
Yes. Okay.
Reduce the cancellations.
Yes.
Huh? So these problems that they're highlighting here give us areas on which you must formulate goals. The absentees. Look at the absentee rate. It's very high. So we want to introduce non-financial performance. So what do? We go into a company and we have seen that there are some areas where the company is not doing well. They're giving some indicators. So what we must now do is put some goals, and against each one of the goals, you put a performance indicator, a performance measure. Okay. And these performance measures must be in the 4 areas. Now, let us sample these. I know that the first time you do this exercise, it's not easy. It's difficult, but you get there. You certainly get there. Okay. Let us pick the easiest. Financial perspective. Financial perspective. I want to pick a very easy one. What is the goal? We saw earlier on that financial perspective, one of the most important things really that we must monitor is your revenue. The revenue. So the goal that we have is to increase seat revenue per plane. For every seat, how much? The possible indicator is performance revenue per available passenger mile. For every passenger mile, because at the end of the day, you would have traveled so many passenger miles. So for every passenger mile, how much revenue are we making? So in other words, you want to increase the revenue. Now, some of you may say, me, I would not have said this. Maybe I would just have said, increase the revenue per plane. That's okay. You want to, on every plane, to maximize. But you see, planes differ. Some planes have got more seats than others. So maybe we must be talking about the revenue per each seat. Or we can say the revenue per each passenger. But remember that passengers also fly different miles. Yeah, some on very short flights, others longer flights. So that is why we say It's a passenger mile. Per each mile that a passenger travels, how much revenue do we make? Some of you, I know, may say, that one would have been difficult for me. Okay, let's look at customer perspective then. Let's look at customer perspective. To ensure that flights are on time, we noticed there that there's somebody who is measuring flights that are on time or on time arrival. So ensure that flights are on time. That's a goal. So for customers to be happy, want to make sure that all the flights are on time. What is the performance indicator? On time arrival ranking from the Aviation Authority. How many out of every 100 flights, how many times are you on time? Or the ranking which is there, all the 50 are being ranked. Remember, all the 50 airlines are being ranked. So where is our ranking? Why is this important? Currently on number 7, if it becomes known as particularly reliable airline, customers are more likely to use it. So this is an important goal and indicator. Let's pick another one, which somebody picked on our behalf. He noted that one of the goals we must have is to reduce the number of flights cancelled. We must reduce these cancellations. What's the performance indicator? We want to be counting the number of flights that we have cancelled. I'm sure now the idea is coming on how to come up with a goal. So if you notice, these goals came from the problems that a company is facing, what they want to improve on. Okay. What are some of the internal processes that we must excel at as an organization? What are some of the, let's identify some of them. Internal processes. Turnaround time. Turnaround time. An internal process. Another internal process, cleanliness of the planes. So these are examples of processes. Performance measure on ground time. How long do we spend on the ground down there? What's the justification? Less time spent on ground means fewer planes are needed, which reduce the plane leasing cost. Yeah. Because if you take too long, it means that the utilization of your assets is very low. Another goal is to improve cleanness of the planes. The percentage of customers happy with standard of the planes, that's a performance indicator. What of another one? Another internal process which is very important for these budget airlines is online booking. We want to develop an online booking system so that people can book online and you cut on the cost. Now, you know about the system that sometimes you log on to the system, it's down. So percentage downtimes, 1% downtime to be as low as possible. If anything, we want our system to be 100% active all the time. What of learning? One of the problem issues that we have is the absentee rate. It's very high. We want to reduce the absentee rate. So we want our employees to be trained so that they become better, effective workers and reduce the absentee rate. Another one is to increase ground crew training on cleaning and refueling procedures. Number of days training per ground crew member. So we want our people to be well trained so that you can reduce even the ground time. We want to train our employees so that they are efficient and effective in cleaning. So these are examples. They are not the only ones, no. You could have mentioned also other possible goals. Okay. I'll share this solution with you so that all of you can again go through, especially how the goals were arrived at and also the performance indicators. Let us get to our next model. The next model that we shared was the building block model. The building block model. Remember, we said that in the service industry, there's naturally been a challenge of how to come up with performance indicators. So we've got a system called Fitzgerald building and block model. This model can help us to build a performance measurement system for a service industry organization. And we said that a good performance measurement system in the service industry is constructed from 4 blocks. What are those blocks? What are those blocks? Tell me the blocks, please. My team, tell me the blocks. A good performance measurement system should have 3 blocks. What are those blocks?
Dimension of performance.
Yes, so 1, 2, 3. 1 is dimension. Another one?
Standards.
Standard. Another one?
Unique.
So how do we construct a story? The starting point for a good performance measurement system is that we need to develop standards. And these standards must be developed on what we call the dimensions. And once somebody has met the standards, has achieved their standards, we must back it up with the reward system. So we need to set standards on the dimensions. And once a standard has been achieved, or a target has been achieved, we need to back it up with a reward. Tell me something about a dimension. Dimensions, how many items do we have in the dimensions? Dimensions.
We have 6.
We have the inputs. What are the inputs? And what are the outcomes? Tell me, what are the inputs or what are the determinants? And what are the outcomes?
Profit.
Okay. Profit. And what else?
Quality.
Okay, so first of all, we have profit, or what we call financial performance. We have profit or financial performance. This is an outcome, or this one is a result. These are results or the outcomes. So in a good performance measurement systems, we must have performance measures which are outcomes or results. Now, what determines good financial performance and competitive performance? If a company wants to make a lot of profit and they're ahead of competitors, their inputs. What are these inputs? Somebody had given me one already. What is the first one? Do you say quality? What else?
I also
Quality?
need to be not.
What else? What else?
Resource utilization.
Yes. Okay. Now, I don't know whether you have gone through the question. No, I'm saying that. These things are mentioned here. They are mentioned here. Have you seen them? Competitiveness, financial performance, the quality of the service, flexibility, resource utilization, and innovation. So they were mentioned in the question. Have you noticed that? So the question mentioned them. A good financial performance measurement system in the service industry, like the industry that these people are in, should have these dimensions. And these are what we have called, these two are what we have called the results. These are results. And these are determinants or the inputs. Okay. That's what we have. So these are the items. Now, what did the question say? Let's answer the question now. It's nice that all of us have participated. Now let's answer the question. Let's answer the question. For each of the dimensions of the building block model, calculate one performance indicator for MSc and one for OSC average using the data available. Briefly justify your choice of performance indicator and discuss MSC's performance relative to the other OSC service centers. Again, this is a nice question because it step by step takes us through all the dimensions. Now here you're going to help me. You're all going to participate to tell me that which one is which. Let us start with financial. Financial. You tell me, which one do you think you can use for financial here? Financial performance. Let's go step by step. Which one do you think can use? Financial performance.
The gross profit.
Excellent. The gross profit margin. The gross profit margin. Good. Please, can you calculate the gross profit margins, all of you?
For OS, it's 36.8.
For MS, that's 40%.
40%.
Yes.
So here we have got 40%. That's the margin. What of here?
36.8%.
Come again?
Round it off to
36.86%.
30?
36.86.
Okay.
Just round it up to 37.
There we are. Good. What of competitive? Are we competitive? How can you check that? How do we check that? Competitive. Are we competitive? Which ratio do we use to check whether we are competitive? Competitiveness.
Let's look at the number of jobs from repeat customers.
Number of jobs from repeat customers. Okay, somebody says you can look at the number of jobs from repeat customers. From repeat customers. Number of jobs from repeat customers. So why do people come back to us again and again? Well, that can work. That can work, but there's even another one that can show how competitive you are. Number of website hits. You got the hits. I'm sure you understand the hits. Total number of jobs booked. So here, look at this. You had 14,000 hits. How many do you convert into jobs? 9,500. Here, you had this number of people that visited the website. That was converted. So the conversion rate shows how competitive you are. Shows how competitive you are. You are very, very. So can you please tell us the conversion rate? What are the conversion rates? What are the conversion rates?
9 for instance.
Come again?
67.9.
That can work. What else?
Time spent on completing job.
Time spent on completing jobs. Okay, time spent. Maybe that one may be much more on the flexibility.
Can we use the feedback from the customers?
Yes, yes, the feedback would work. What of innovation? Which one can we use? They have told us the revenue. They have told us the revenue.
We can use the sales revenue on new services.
Excellent. You guys have done a good job. So how much revenue is coming from the new parts, which are here? So they have given us the revenue. The revenues from the new products produced. So what we look at the revenues. The revenues. These are the revenues. So these are revenues for new products compared to the average for the other service centers or cleaning centers. So you take this as a proportion of what? Total revenue. Total revenue. So you say, out of this revenue, how much has come from new products? That's a clear indicator of whether we are innovative or not. That is how we can tell the extent to which we are innovative. So a number of these topics work very well with questions. When we go to the questions give us a good idea of what to expect. Okay. Now let's review what was computed. Let's review. Let's review. Okay, so this is what you had there. Competitiveness is here. Gross profit margins are here. Quality of service. Percentage of jobs from repeat customers. Flexibility, the time that it takes us to complete the job. Resource utilization, the sales per mechanic. Innovation, the revenue from the new products. That's it. That's it. And the last part of our question was explain how the standards and reward blocks support the dimensions. So what's the link between the standards and the reward? These two blocks, standard is the block, reward is a block. How do they support the dimension? How do they support the dimension? The standards block sets the target for the performance indicators chosen for each dimension. So for each of the 6 dimensions, what should we set? What should we set? For each one of the dimensions, we must set a target. So there must be a target. Remember, there are 6 of them. And these targets, they should not just be set anyhow. A good target should be achievable, it must be fair, and it must support ownership. If the target set do not meet this criteria, then the performance of the organization could suffer in the service industry. So we need to set the standards, and these standards should be achievable, should be fair, and should have an element of ownership. And when people achieve the standard, what happens? The reward blocks ensures employees are motivated to achieve the standards. It also considers the properties of good reward schemes, which are that they should be clear. Clarity is very important. They must be motivational and also controllable. If standards and rewards are set appropriately, the staff will be engaged and motivated. It is then more likely that the goals, which are the dimensions, will be achieved. So that's the link between these 3 blocks. Okay, so this is the non-financial performance from our examiner in terms of the private sector organizations. So what I'll do is I'll share the 2 solutions so that again you can read through to reinforce your understanding of the balanced scorecard and the Fitzgerald building block model. Where to from here? From here, we'll move to another level. We'll now look at division of performance in terms of responsibility accounting, residual income, return on investment, and also the concept of transfer pricing. So that's the item that we'll be looking at in our class next week. So next week, Monday, Tuesday, we want to deal with the division of performance, finish it completely. And then from there, we need to answer some questions. But I'm going to send a question for you on financial and non-financial so that you can attempt the question. I want you to attempt the question and share with me your solution. Now today is Thursday, so share with me your solution before the Monday class on financial and non-financial performance so that I can start correcting your work. Okay? We need to start correcting your work now. So please check on the forum. I'll put the work on the forum, pick it from the forum. I'll give instructions on what you should do. Share it with me so that I can go through your financial and non-financial performance. All right, team, we see you next week, Monday. Remember, 13 hours, log in at 13 hours.
Thank you.